So recently, I've been worrying a lot about my college major. I think it happens to everyone. You just get worried a lot about all the classes you need to pass and all of the college credit stuff. So I'm making this video because I'm a little stressed out and I think I just need to vent it out a little bit. But hopefully, you guys enjoy it too. I guess I don't know. Yeah. So this video is mostly a joke. I'm obviously super grateful to be in a major like mine, but it gets stressful sometimes. So I figure I'm just going to talk about it because the major's hard and there's a lot of stuff that goes into it. So I am going to be ranting about my major's course map. What is a course map? So I'll get to that in a sec. So what major am I again? I am in the English Taught Intelligent Engineering and Technology program or something. Uh, it's a foreign taught major, which means that it's English taught, but I am in a non-English speaking country, if that makes any sense. Intelligent does not mean I am good at it. If the name was clear, it's obviously STEM related, so there's a lot of science and math that gets really complicated. And I think it's supposed to introduce students to like different types of engineering. I don't know because I'm only a year two, but it's supposed to. I think so. Okay, so this is my major's course map. I'm not sure if this is a common term that is used, but a course map is just mapping out all the credits that you need to graduate. This is a 4-year program, so that supposedly means that it's 16 credits a semester. Best case scenario, right? 128 credits. 24 of them are university developed required courses. These are like the courses that are like required for everyone, doesn't matter what major you take. Then you have the core courses, which are basically the kind of courses that everyone in a science major or your type of major need to take. And then the one at the bottom is college developed specialized courses, which is just a fancy way of saying they're courses that are more similar to what you will do with your future. I guess that makes any sense. It's like more specific to your major. And of course, electives are just electives. These are just pretty random classes overall. But okay, so this is what the university developed courses are. So these are the stuff that every major takes. And they're typically 1 to 2 credits. Sometimes there are no credits at all. And they can be split into 2 categories. On the left, we have general courses, which is like basically, like I said, everything things you're required to take. You basically have no choice or freedom in what you take here. And some of these classes aren't even worth anything, if that makes any sense. Like they're like requirements. So service learning is just a class that is what for cleaning. Like you just go to class and clean one time. So it makes sense that 0 credits. And then I'll get to fitness in a sec. But there's also Chinese, which is well, I'm just gonna switch the slide because I'm pretty sure I literally talk about it here. Yep. Okay. No, these videos are not scripted, so I have no idea what I'm doing. But yeah, so I'm pretty sure I don't need to take English. I think you can tell I am fluent in English. I am, however, not fluent in Mandarin because I am a foreigner. So Chinese is required, but the class is pretty straightforward. It's one of the only classes in my major where I actually get to talk. So yeah. Service learning, like I said, is pretty straightforward. You just go and clean one time. I guess it's like public service or something. I do find it kind of disrespectful that fitness is 0 credits because it's like I understand like gym classes aren't really teaching you things in the same way that like academic classes are, but for what it's worth, it's still valuable, right? Like we're still learning how to stay fit. And if you watched last week's video, I take like that information pretty into heart, if that makes any sense. Like obviously fitness is important, so I don't get why it's 0 credits. I think it's kind of disrespectful. It's kind of wasting our time and the teachers, but it's a requirement, so you do need to graduate. So at the end of the day, it's kind of the same thing as saying oh, it's worth 1 credit, you just add on another credit to the total. But okay, liberal courses, these are like the humanities or history classes. I'd imagine that humanity majors would need to take more of these, but generally speaking, every major has like this specific category. They're split into 8 categories, 6 of which are required for each major, at least for science majors as far as I'm concerned. I don't remember which ones I'm required to take, but there's 6 of them, so like look at it yourself. I think it's A1 to A5 and then A8. Classes like these are typically pretty like, what is it? Open to interpretation, so like it's kind of hard to grade them, right? Because like how do you give a test on like philosophy, right? So classes like these are pretty easy to like, not easy to pass but easier to pass because you're doing stuff like essays or projects, stuff that you can do at home and you typically have a time to work on, unlike a test where all of it really depends on how much you know at that specific moment. And as much as it sucks to say, I'm pretty sure a lot of these classes can be passed just by like not being there. I'm not saying you should do this. Please go to like these kind of classes. I think they are teaching a valuable thing. Like you feel like you're going there to learn, not to pass, because they're teaching stuff like history, humanities that are interesting to talk about, but they're not necessarily like the hardest things to get a grade on. But I digress. 12 credits, pretty straightforward. I haven't had too much of a hard time. This is an example of one of my liberal courses. It's exploring film and culture, whatever, in Taiwan. So 2 hour lecture a week. It's a class where you watch historical movies in Taiwan. It's extremely niche because like historical movies are one thing, and then there's historical movies in Taiwan, right? But there are a lot of interesting films. I would recommend watching them, but I don't know the names of any. But I digress. So the class is literally you watch movies. The midterm is 40%, and the final is 60%. But they're both essays, so I think it's pretty straightforward to pass this class. Unless you're really bad at writing essays. I think there's like a stereotype that like what is it? Science majors are really bad at writing essays, but I did not use ChatGPT. I did actually type them. Clearly, I have a thing for like typing words. But yeah, classes like these are a nice break from the harder ones in my major. I'll get to that. And these classes aren't that easy to find. Like classes that are just like two essays and you're good, and the kind of like I said, like you really don't have to go to the lectures in the sense that like the things you learn at the lectures are stuff that you can learn at home, but it's definitely better because like you'll have an idea of what to write the essays on. So of course, like I said, once again, please don't skip class. Please go to these classes. But yeah, these classes aren't easy to find, so sometimes you have to like find some more interesting ones, like this one, South Asian Musical Performance and Society. I said that way too fast. South Asian Musical Performance and Society. 3 hour classes a week. It is a very unique class. I live in East Asia, by the way, so just look at like the map. Like this doesn't really make sense to have a class like this. But of course, when you have classes this unique, you typically get teachers that are really passionate about the topic. Grading is all over the place. Like look at that thing, like that mess on the right. Like it makes there's like so much stuff going on, but most of it is just like show up and participate, and like do some like relatively straightforward assignments, and you're good. There are no exams. The midterm was a take home exam, so like I think you were good. And before you say, oh, did you like cheat and use Google? No, it was open notes, so you were allowed to. But sometimes you have to do some things that are like a little bit embarrassing, like sing or dance. I talked about how I do like music, but not in the context of like being forced to do it in front of people, if that makes any sense. But I'll take a 90 in this class for a little bit of dignity loss. But yeah, overall, liberal classes are pretty chill. I've yet to encounter one that was like an extremely tough time. This class is a little bit like graded weirdly, but I don't think there are any issues with the grade. But yeah, now it's time for the college developed courses. This is like the science and math stuff that all science majors need to take, and it's a lot harder to pass in terms of grading. It's also much harder in terms of content, at least in my opinion. It's separated by years. The color is the year, and then the number is the amount of credits. Usually, you have to like these classes are like longer hours a week, but like I said, there are also more credits for the most part. There's a wide variety. I'm a year 2 student, so I haven't taken all of these classes before, but I'll go over the ones I have taken. Calculus 1 to 4. This is 8 credits total. This is like the start of a science major's journey. Whether this is a good thing or a bad thing, I frankly I would say it's definitely challenging. This is much harder than pre-calculus. Obviously, it's such a big jump, and it's also a lot harder than American calculus. I think I'm just gonna say it. Americans just don't know as much at a certain point in time than like the same people their age in Asia. It's just I think it's like objectively true. I'm not saying they're dumber. I'm saying they literally just do not know as much calculus. So it's hard. And I know this because I took AP Calc, which is like college level to some extent, and what I'm learning now is still so much harder. Of course, there's 4 of them, even worse, it's half a semester per course, which is horrible, and I hate it. I don't know why they did this. Like, I feel like what's the rush? I wouldn't mind staying here like an extra semester if it meant we didn't have to be forced to learn this stuff twice as fast. or at least like the way this curriculum is designed. You think teaching one calculus a year would be fine, but like no, they don't do that. I don't know, whatever. Grading is 30% assignments, 20% quizzes, and 50% final, which is not bad actually. In fact, having 30% on assignments is pretty free because, like, okay, you might be they do grade homework kind of strictly, so you can't always get 100, but it's pretty lenient. But if you fail the final, you're basically cooked. It's kind of a struggle, right? And it isn't a good sign, honestly, because like if you struggle in calculus, this is supposed to be like the foundation for a science major. It's not looking good, right? But I think for what it's worth, it's not an easy class, but there is value in learning it, even if I don't fully understand why that is. But physics, of course, there's two of them. It's calculus, but worse because it's basically taking a bunch of things you learn in calculus and like applying more equations to it. It's a class so hard that having a good teacher doesn't make a difference. Like the teacher could be really nice, and like chill you, but at the end of the day, the curriculum is fast, and she has to like go really fast. These are the kind of classes where you get like a 20, and you're like, okay, that's a pretty good score. How do you pass a class like this? I mean, I guess you just get good homework grades. The grading is the same as calculus, I'm pretty sure. The scariest part actually is that physics majors have this harder. Like, it's probably harder for a physics major, and it kind of scares me because, like, what do you mean it gets harder? The class really the class is so hard that after you take a test, you start appreciating life more. I feel like anyone who knows what I just said knows what I just said. It's that bad, you know. But grading, like I said, is the same as calculus. But I think the teacher did give some extra credit here and then, which is just her choice. Like I said, she was a nice teacher, but it didn't make a difference. Class was still hard. Okay, the other year one classes. These are all like a lot easier in terms of passing. Lab classes are 3 hours for 1 credit, which is terrible. I don't know why they did this. I mean, I guess it's because like labs don't necessarily take 3 hours all the time. They could take 2 hours, maybe even one if you're really efficient. So I guess there's a justification there, but it's also like 3 hours of your day for only 1 credit. It's not the best in terms of like credits, but these classes often involve pairs or groups, so it's a lot less stressful. And it's just it's just a little easier to pass. Like I said, grading is mostly labs and projects, so it's like pretty straightforward. Chemistry was like the easiest out of all like calculus and physics. Like I kind of grouped the three together because they're like all similar in terms of like grading. But chemistry was the easiest because I think it was just like the test was a little easier. I think there was a curve. I don't know, but it was definitely the easiest to pass out of all of them. I could study a little less for chemistry is what I'm saying. The intro to engineering class is the only class I took in year one that was like actually engineering related, or at least semester one, right? I actually managed to do stuff related to building, and each month was a different type of engineering, which is pretty cool, honestly. Okay, year two. So I'm currently a year two student. So if you do the math, I've not finished it yet. But basically, here's my experience so far. So this is like year two. If you made it, you probably survived year one. Hopefully with a higher GPA than I put there. I'm not gonna tell you what GPA I had in year one. I don't remember it anyway. I passed. This is even worse than year one, in my opinion. So we're just gonna move on. Engineering mathematics. This is like supposed to be calculus plus physics. Like the way that the teacher described it, it's like engineering. Like it's like the math you need for engineering, which sounds like a good thing, right? Because so far all I've done is like take classes, and they never really explained why this is related to my major. But I get this class attempts to do that. The teacher claims to say you don't need physics for this class, but I think that's like bullcrap because like you do it's basically it's basically saying things that are physics related. Of course, there's two of them, and I think he said that you need calculuses 1 through 4, which is not a good sign. The grading is 45% midterm, 55% final, which is already horrible. Like, what do you mean? Like, the grading is just two tests, and you're like literally if you fail one of them, you're done. Like you're cooked. Like there's literally no saving grace. There is no extra credit. Attendance is not mandatory, but the lectures aren't recorded. So like, what do you mean they're not mandatory? Like I don't understand why the teacher said it like this. I don't really care that it is like this. I can just hate the way he said it. It's like, well, obviously attendance is mandatory if we cannot learn the material if we're not there. So I don't understand. And the reason he gave was really weird. It's like, oh, the TAs don't have the time to edit it, but they clearly do because they did it like the year prior. I don't know. This class makes me mad. I dropped this class. I'm not even gonna like lie here. I literally dropped it. It's not. It's stressful. You take two hard subjects and you put them together, and like it's just worse. So I'm gonna move on because I hate it. Okay, engineering graphics. It turns out like 3D modeling is really annoying. You like this class sounded like fun because it's like I said, another class that's like real like extremely related to engineering. Like it's a lot less of like the math and the physics and more like just jumping straight to engineering. But it's actually really annoying because if you ever 3D model, you know how the crap just doesn't run sometimes. Like your PC just blows up, which is perfect for the winter. And you know, it's definitely not a hard class in terms of like time commitment because like most of it is stuff you can do at home as long as you have the 3D modeling software. Apparently, Autodesk just doesn't work on Macs. So if you had an Apple product, screw you, I guess. I think you had to go to the school and do it. But for me, I have a non-Apple laptop, so it worked out for me. I barely passed this class though because, like I said, like 3D modeling is annoying, and there's just something I just couldn't figure out, and my computer would like lag. And even worse is that for a class that you think would be like, oh, you gotta build your own stuff, that's not true. If you do anything that's like incorrect or a creative liberty, yeah, they will subtract points. So yeah, this class is not what it looks like. But I passed it. It was fine. It was fun sometimes because build it. Like I said, it is fun to like 3D model. It's just a lot of stuff. Okay, these are two other classes that I've taken so far in year two. Computer programming is just mostly project. Coding is not that hard for me, but it's just really annoying because there's a lot of stuff you need to memorize. But like, it's not shouldn't be too hard to pass. This teacher specifically gives a lot of extra credit, which usually probably means that the class is already fairly easy to pass. Because I don't really see calculus giving extra credit because you really need to work hard for the grade. But if the class is already like pretty straightforward to pass, they're gonna give extra credit because it won't really matter. That's kind of what I've noticed. Applied Mechanics 1 is not fun. It's like drawing, but like worse. It's basically like they took vectors from high school and then they made a whole class out of it. I have to apply myself. But no, I hate it. It's stressful. But okay, time for the more engineering related stuff. This is like what I said before. The core, the college, whatever. I don't know. It's a big word. I haven't taken most of these classes yet because they are limited to third and fourth year students. Fun fact: my major is actually so new. We haven't even made it to the fourth year yet. But the classes I have taken like two so far, and they're pretty doable to pass. And there's a lot of options here. These are split into four categories: structural or civil engineering, intelligent decision, which I think is a fancy word for IE or industrial engineering. That big word on the bottom, I think it's just call it mechanical engineering. That's basically what it is. And then environmental engineering. These are the four classes that my intro to class taught. So it's basically just introducing you to four different engineerings. And then after you graduate, hopefully in 4 years, you will pick one of them to get a master's in. That seems like to be the plan for this major. It's more like an introduction to engineering, and then you're still young, so you spend 2 maybe more years figuring out which one of these you like the most. In my personal experience, I like engineering, like mechanical engineering the most. I really like electrical engineering back in high school. And I feel like no matter what, calculus is inevitable. So it doesn't really matter which one of these I pick. I don't really like the other ones as much. Intelligent and industrial engineering is not exactly building. It's more like logical thinking, which. So here is one of the classes that I've taken so far in that category: environmental planning and management. So this class I feel like is sounds like it would be about like testing the environment, like collecting lake water or something, which I think is actually pretty fun. Like I think I mentioned before that like medical stuff scares me, so it would be a little scary because I might be afraid of getting infected. But like realistically speaking, like it wouldn't be the worst. It'd be kind of fun to test these like microbes or whatever. But it turns out this class is not that. It's actually mostly statistics. It's like using like statistical methods to predict the best outcome in an environmental disaster. I don't even know what I just said. Uh, but most of the stuff was group projects and like presentations, so it was a lot less stressful. So I didn't have to lose all my hair trying to figure out statistics. If you couldn't tell, I'm not that good at math, not anymore at least. But yeah, the test there was a midterm. It wasn't like what is it, like 50% like it was for calculus, but it was 20%, which is still a big chunk. But it was actually like open laptop, and I'm pretty sure he even let us use AI. And you're thinking like, isn't that cheating? Maybe. But I actually, when I walked into the test, I already knew it was open laptop, so I had my notes on my laptop. And then I wasn't sure about AI because he never really said anything about it. But then I see some student in front of me using AI, and like the proctor has no problem with it. So I'm like, okay, I guess I'll use AI to help. And I got like a 65. So this class, I feel like this class would have been much harder if it was like a lot graded a lot stricter. But yeah, pretty straightforward. I still don't really know what I learned in this class, to be honest, but statistics, I guess. Yay. Okay, engineering materials. This class is very similar to the grading scheme of engineering mathematics, but it is like a little better because the midterm and the final are graded the same, which usually means that they're the same difficulty. It's also 10% presentation. You gotta give credit where it's due. They actually squeezed in some easier grades there. The grading is a little funny, but the content is easier. So let's just say I'm on a track to be able to pass. Let's put it that way, because I haven't finished the semester yet. But no homework is kind of weird because it's kind of hard to figure out how to study. But once you figure it out, it shouldn't be the worst thing in the world. But yeah, this class is actually kind of interesting to learn about because it has engineering related stuff. So you're actually learning about what materials engineering is involved in or whatever. But yeah, electives. I feel like electives are probably the most like random things ever. Like this isn't even like a roast. Like electives are literally designed to be a class that's not related to your major at all. So you could literally take whatever. I tried to pick like the most generous classes in terms of grading. Maybe you could hear this as I took easier classes. I don't really believe that calling a class easier is fair to them. So I feel like just saying easier in grading in my scenario would be mostly essays or projects because I'm just really bad at taking tests. But yeah, it is good for widening your perspective. I didn't even put what classes I took here because they're all like pretty straightforward. Like I think I took like another environment class. That class was actually more environmentally related. But for the most part, they're just like a bunch of projects and stuff. So like, there's really not much to say here. Conclusion. Yeah, this video is just me getting mad at my major. Don't take it too seriously. Obviously, I'm grateful to be in a major like mine. And even though it's hard, there's a lot of things that I can probably learn from this major. And I also feel like engineering mathematics should not exist. I want it to calculate itself into the shadow realm. Okay. But hopefully this video was at least a little bit funny to you or comforting. I don't know. This video was definitely fun for me because it lets me vent out my stress a little bit. Hopefully you were a little less stressed after listening to some guy complain about his major. But hopefully you all have a nice day. Bye.